Just when you thought the UN couldn't get any worse, there's a film out now that quotes the Unrwa schools teaching Palestinian kids to rah, 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 go kill the Jews. Those schools are paid for with your tax dollars. Israel has been soundly opposed for quite some time to the viciousness coming out of the Unrwa organization, the United Nations Relief Works Agency. It's the only specific agency created at the UN for one people and one people only. It was supposed to be temporary 75 years ago, and it's still there with a monster budget. And they're supposed to be advocates for the survival, the settlement of the Palestinian people, the Arabs, and peace with the Jewish state. It's coming out more and more and more that Unrwa schools themselves are teaching murder of Israelis to small children in the Unrwa schools. There's a film out now that literally quotes the teachers in the classroom. And I'm reading some of these quotes of what the children are taught as little babies, and it's horrible. They're called on to kill as the Gazans killed the Jews on October 7th. And it's horrible. The things they ask these kids, for example, they glorify this person named Mudrabi, who was a Fatah member and participated in the 1978 Coastal Road Massacre in Israel. 38 Israelis, including 13 children, were murdered brutally on the side of the road. And the kids talk about these people as heroes, that they're part of our family. They fought against the Jews. She blew them up. And they talk about they want to be like that. I will keep fighting until Palestine is liberated. I want to be a jihadist. I want to fight for Allah. So the interviewer says, do you hate the Jews? Asking a 12-year-old girl. And she says, this is in an Unrwa school. What is the solution to Jerusalem? To kill the Jews. We'll get rid of all the Jews. With Allah's help, I will become a holy warrior. I've got 30 of these quotes. It is horrific. And it reminds me of the Hitler Youth indoctrination, where they started with small children to teach them to sacrifice themselves for the Fuhrer, for the fatherland. And it worked. They had kids out there with rifles that were 12 years old, fighting the Russians and fighting the Americans and the French and the British until they were just overwhelmed. And now the same thing is happening, except, Claire, you're paying for it. And I'm paying for it through the United Nations budget supplied by the United States taxpayers.
You know, there is only one organization of the United Nations or anywhere else, really, that is dedicated solely to a singular population of people called refugees, all the way down to the third and the fourth and I don't know what generation. There's no such other organization within the United Nations or anywhere else. Unrwa needs to be disbanded. Its authority in Gaza needs to be ended. There are numbers of other organizations that can fill in for it. The UN High Commission on Refugees, for example. And there are other organizations within the UN that can help, UNICEF and others dedicated to children, for example. But I think the only solution really for UNRWA is to be disbanded, and for Gaza to have the people of Gaza to have a kind of the educational system reformed, as it happened after World War II, for example, when General Douglas MacArthur took over Japan after the unconditional surrender. The same thing happened in Germany, but in Japan it was MacArthur, and he completely oversaw the rewriting of the curriculum, all the textbooks, and look what we have today, a wonderful ally in Japan and likewise in Germany. But that's what's going to happen in Gaza, that the textbooks, the training, the curriculum, everything's going to have to be overhauled and revised without any further participation by UNRWA.
One last thought, and I agree with you. Every single UNRWA facility is a terror operation.
Yeah.
filled with weapons of all kinds, ammunition, rockets, rocket manufacturing, and hate literature, the likes of which the world has not seen since Nazi Germany. Every single UNRWA school. And even some of the administrators of UNRWA have suspended a few people.
This is a good example you're bringing up there of war crimes. These are war crimes when ammunition, weapons, armaments, military operational headquarters are deliberately co-located within civilian facilities like UNRWA's, be it a school, a mosque, anything else. Those are war crimes.
Agreed.